This is the story about when I first started meditating, so you can understand how it was for me, because I understand if it's not easy for you. So what happened was, I had had friends telling me, you should meditate for the longest time. And I just kind of blew them off and ignored them and didn't know really what to do or what it was they were trying to tell me. Until one day, after I had been doing personal development for a couple years rather intensely, and before this I used to pray. I used to pray 3 times on my knees every day for years and years and years. So this sort of petered out after I left my religion. And then I started, searching for my purpose and moving on further in life. And I did a lot of spiritual development work and emotional and healing and all of these things. And I spent basically 4 or 5 years basically full-time doing this, whether I was working with other people or going to courses or learning about energy. I was learning about this stuff all the time. And about halfway through this process, I was invited to a meditation camp. And I didn't know, okay, various people had been telling me to meditate. I'd been ignoring them, and I hadn't been meditating. So when I got invited to this meditation camp, I thought, okay, well, let's check it out. So I went to this meditation camp, and it was 7 days of meditation. And there were many of Osho's meditations. And during all of these meditations, some of them were walking meditations, gently walking through the grass and paying attention to your center. Some of them were laughing meditations, laughing for an hour, just laughing. That was a meditation. Others, we did the dynamic meditation. We did many, but the one thing that we did that was the most difficult was the sitting meditation, just sitting silently for 20 or 30 minutes at a time, everybody in the room. And we started doing that, and I felt absolutely insane. It felt absolutely horrible. I hated every second of it. In fact, my introduction when I got to the group was, I hate meditation, which was rather funny. The group leader didn't take it that well. But I seriously said, I hate meditation. I can't meditate. I don't like meditation. I don't know why I'm here, only because this pretty girl invited me, who's my friend, and that's about it. So anyway, I did all the meditations, and the sitting was just a nightmare. I was sitting there, and my brain was going a million miles a minute. And I could only think, when is this going to be over? I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. So anyway, after I got done with that, I didn't meditate for quite a while, and then, life began to fall apart again, as it does. And so I thought, I have to find a solution for this. And I tried a bunch of other things in life, more details on that later, and I thought, okay, I need to find a solution. People say meditation is good. So I started meditating again. Put a chair in the middle of a big room that I had in my apartment and sat there. Set the alarm for 30 minutes and just tried to sit. And it felt like I was locked in a padded room with a half dozen or a dozen absolutely insane people. There were all of these voices in my head telling me all of these things. There was all of this important stuff that I had to do all of a sudden that I didn't even think about when I sat down to meditate, but all of a sudden it seemed super important, and I had to pay attention to it, and I had to write it down, and I had to do it right now. And all of this stuff kept coming up, and it was just like crazy people yelling at me. That's the best comparison I can possibly get about it. And so I felt like all these crazy people were yelling at me in my head, and I just hated it. So I started taking notes. Like, I'd write down all the stuff that came to my mind, hoping that would be empty at some point, and maybe that helped a little bit. And I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and it would get better and better and better slowly. So, every day for a month, every day for a couple months. Sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes a half an hour, sometimes a bit longer. Well, then I discovered the meditation that I recommend, which is on the link below. And this works well for me, this or a variation. And there's many more variations that I'll be talking about as time goes on. But just feeling into my body, noticing where there was pain or discomfort, breathing into it, letting my body move. This is the meditation that I discovered / reinvented / whatever, what became my meditation for the next several years. It's really my main meditation now, and it's the one that I use with people when they're dealing with really difficult issues because it helped me solve mine. So this was the meditation that, I would feel like my body would jerk and move in weird ways. I would be breathing. There would be absolutely massive pain with no explanation in strange parts of my body. I would just breathe into it, and then it would release. Some of these processes would take an hour of pain moving through various places in my body and feeling into it and breathing into it before it finally disappeared. And yeah, so I was doing this all the time and feeling that something was moving, something was getting better, months and months for a half an hour a day, to release whatever was going on inside me, to deal with the emotional issues or the pressure or whatever it was that was stuck inside that was destroying my relationships and making me unhappy, and all of these things making me unfulfilled. And the longer I did it, the closer I got to feeling good, and I came to be more centered, and the voices got quieter or silenced altogether, and my body stopped hurting. In fact, my body started feeling good, and all of a sudden I started being able to ask for what I want, and I started being able to say how I was feeling with other people, and I stopped relying so much on other people to make me feel better and to do things for me. And life began to come together, slowly but surely. And so anyway, and then I'll continue the story later about how I found some more meditations to go even deeper and have some even more amazing experiences. But this is a basic meditation that I call the self-empathy healing technique, meaning just showing empathy to yourself and feeling into what the emotions are that you have, to what's inside you, just giving yourself that time and space that no one gave you as a child or even as an adult. When you have these strong emotions, no one's really connecting to you, to your heart, what's going on in your emotional center, to your belly, where I feel a lot of my emotions. And so that's just providing time to provide yourself empathy and understanding. This is how you feel. And you can release your emotional content with that and heal emotions from the inside. So this is my recommendation, and this is the story of how and why I began to meditate.